Goals, a rare commodity on Tranmere's travels. They've only scored 4 on enemy territory in 10 games this season. Well, the latest young Czech from the Canaries Academy is England under-21 winger Darren Eadie. The club who've sold more £1 million players than any other expect great things of the 19-year-old. After a 3-game absence, he lends width to the Premiership side, who also have problems scoring goals. Mark Robins, formerly of Manchester United and Oldham, partners play anywhere, Rob Newman in attack. The referee with 19 years experience in the middle behind him tonight is Brian Hill. So Tranmere Rovers, with the worst away scoring record in Division 1, take on the team with one of the best home records in the Premiership. Norwich City are unbeaten here at Carrow Road this season, and they're going to provide formidable opposition for Tranmere Rovers, one of those great Northwest giant killers. Tranmere have come down here in luxury style, stayed overnight, had a game of golf to acclimatise themselves to the very wet Norfolk area. The pitch is in perfect condition for a cracking game of football tonight. Flicking the ball on. Gary Stevens knows all about Norwich City from his Everton days, of course. Nudge in the back. Spencer Pryor, who's been earmarked to mark John Aldridge tonight. One of the many youngsters in this Norwich team. Of course, they nurture them, then sell them on. Newman looking for Adams, who comes in from his wing. Taking on Steve Mungle, likes a shot at goal, and that isn't a bad shot, which brings the first save of the night from Eric Nixon. And Neil Adams is looking on song. That's a couple of times he's had a run at the Tranmere defence. And that was probably as good as you could expect from that kind of distance. He had to be quick-footed, and he forced the save. That's the main thing. Neil Adams has scored 2 goals this season. That makes him the second top scorer at Carrow Road. John Dean, who's made the mask Mike Who around Carrow Road, taken Norwich up into 7th position in the Premiership this season. My God, whose distribution is very important in Norwich's team play. So is the finishing of Robbins, who had 2 shots in quick succession then. And John McGreal has got his work cut out. Mark Robbins 100% fit again after a couple of injury-prone seasons. Still only 24, one of the brightest young strikers around. Newman laying it off to Mike Milligan. Now Crook. Good little dummy. St. Irons. Eadie. This is Norwich's style. Play the ball around. Get the ball to the wingers. Good cross from Eadie. Here's a chance for Newman. More than a chance. He maybe should have done better. But that was classic Norwich City play, wasn't it? Moving the ball around midfield. Slow, and then very quick from the little number 11, Eadie. And Newman had to spin off his marker and couldn't quite get the balance required to get the shot on goal. He's a midfield player, turned centre-half, turned centre-forward in the last few games, and not doing bad in his unusual role, Rob Newman. A lot of silly, niggly little fouls going on out there. Tallest man in the area for Tranmere, Chris Malkin, stands 6'3", not known for his heading ability though. Up he goes, causes Pryor a few problems. Gary Stevens fancies a shot at goal, and that wasn't far over the bar. Well, he's been a successful player in his time, Gary Stevens, but I'll bet you his scoring ratio isn't that great. That was arguably the best shot at goal that we've seen in the game so far, and we've had quite a few. Curling the ball. I think Gunn had it covered though. Adams taking on Mungle, and getting a little carried away. Steve Mungle had Lee Macari and Jim Beglin in raptures on Sunday with his performance. The man now in his 37th year. Aldridge, he's 36, to John Morrissey. There's a chance for Irons. Picks his spot, and does he? Well, he made that look so easy. What a goal! A fantastic goal from Kenny Irons. He made it look so simple. The ball came to him from Johnny Morrissey. He was in so much space as he was a few moments ago, but this time he just picked out the spot and he hit bullseye. I was saying before that he tends to turn it on for the TV cameras, and he proved my point. Brian Gunn just stood and watched, he couldn't believe it. Admiration from the goalkeeper, and admiration from everybody who's seen that goal. That's got them talking on the Tranmere bench. John King's going to have to keep him in the side now, because Irons is only a replacement really for Liam O'Brien, playing his way permanently into the manager's plans. Such coming from that full-back position, having a little go at the Tranmere defence. Robbins looking to the far post, and, well, you have to say in conclusion that Darren Eadie wasn't quite tall enough. He did well to get up that high, the smallest man on the pitch. It was asking a lot of him to get the header on goal, but he had Eric Nixon moving his feet rather swiftly. Crook. Newman slips. That wasn't what he intended, but he's set Abidi for a chance. In turn, sets up Crook. A little lack of confidence from the Norwich winger there. It's very dangerous at the moment. The shot comes in from Crook. He made good contact with it, but I think really from that kind of distance he was looking for a deflection to cause Eric Nixon real trouble in the Tranmere goal. Quite a good 30 yards out, and those only go in when it takes a couple of deflections and wrong foots the goalkeeper. This is Adams. Gets in an early cross. Robbins plays it down to Newman. Oh, good shot, good save. Good football all round. Well, for a big man who stands, what, 6'2", and the goalkeeper who stands 6'4", both of them swivel their bodies rather elegantly then. Newman's shot, Eric Nixon's save. And it remains 1-0 to Tranmere. Eric Nixon taking charge of things back there. And 32 years of age now for goalkeepers. He's coming into his prime. Spencer Pryor. Norwich changing their tack, but Tranmere still able to deal with a long ball. Newman. Better move this from Norwich as Eadie goes in with Eric Nixon. Nixon came off his line, and tracking Eadie all of the way was Steve Mungle. But it was Eadie again, the most dangerous man on the field for Norwich City. Lovely pass through from Mark Robbins, and Eric Nixon, well, his fingertips had to be at their most precise. Adams on his favoured right foot. That's a good cross, teasing the goalkeeper, keeping it well away from him. Robbins can't keep his balance. McGreal half clears. Robbins back to Milligan again. Safe ball wide to Adams. They're lining up in the centre if he can get the cross in. McGreal lets the ball go, which is a big mistake because Robbins was behind him. Good football this from Norwich. Can they get a shot on goal? Saving tackle from Garden. Still not cleared. Shot again. Pat Nevin has to get the ball away. Frustrating moments for the Norwich fans. It has to be said. Impeccable defending from Tranmere Rovers, throwing bodies again in the way of the ball. We saw it on Sunday against Oldham Athletic. And again, Sean Garnett getting his sliding challenge in the way of the shot and keeping Tranmere's shutout intact. Long ball forward, but Stevens underneath it well. Morrissey. And another late tackle. The referee, well, he's keen not to book too many players. I think insisting there that the Norwich player, who indeed injured himself, Mark Robbins, goes off the pitch for treatment. Serves you right, you shouldn't have committed the foul, he says. Robbins coming in with a late tackle, and the considerable weight of John Morrissey falling on top of it. Ryan Gunn was feeling a little hard done by. He's not had a save to make in the first half and didn't even bother diving for Kenny Irons' goal. Whistles around Carrow Road. I think some of them are from the tea ladies. The referee has played plenty of stoppage time, and the boos are not for the quality of football, certainly not the quality of goal. Kenny Irons' corker, the man that John King loves to call his Tasmanian devil, has given those travelling Tranmere fans something to sing about during the first half. Half-time scoreline is Norwich City 0, Tranmere Rovers 1. It's Norwich City to kick off the second half, and they're defending a proud record against Tranmere Rovers in that they've never lost against the Wirral club. And Tranmere, with that one-goal advantage, will be keen to hang on to it and increase it, because the last thing they want in the Coca-Cola Cup is the dreaded penalty shootout. A few of their players still have nightmares about last year's experience against Aston Villa, and neither Ian Nolan nor Liam O'Brien, who missed the penalties, are involved in the team tonight. John Aldridge just ghosting around. We've seen very little of Tranmere's Irish international striker, just reserving himself. He quite clearly isn't 100% fit. He's just going to be on hand should the pieces fall to him, but it's Norwich who are desperate to get back in the game and get their act together. The fans have been having a real go at them since the game got going, and John Dean doesn't look overly confident. I think he's saying his prayers down there, the way his hands are clasped. Milligan for Norwich. Thinking about the shot is Ian Crook. He thinks the pass is a better option. Edie lets it go under rather adventurous scissor kick from the centre half Spencer Pryor. When you're 6'3", 6'4", and have a 14-stone frame, it's not quite as easy to get yourself into the Mark Hughes type position. Spencer Pryor tried his best. But he got in a bit of a tangle, really, and Nixon didn't have the save to make. But he's back now in a defensive position, keeping a track on Aldridge. Irons has scored one. Can he score a second? Great shot by Irons. And Brian Gunn just flung himself at that and hoped for the best. And he got the best, but the danger's still not over. Morrissey is onside. Can he steady himself for the cross? A fine saving tackle. But Brian Gunn certainly keeping his side in the game. An injury gives us a little break in play. The hearts of the Norwich defenders are still in their mouths. Kenny Irons is having a cracking game, linking up well with Aldridge. And boy, does he hit a ball. He curled one in the first half, and that one was just sheer velocity. And an excellent save from Brian Gunn. Aldridge, don't think that was meant to be the dummy, but he set Malkin away. And Aldridge will be keen to take this throw with just him and Malkin 2-on-2, but decides against it. We're 1-0 up. The Tranmere fans on that near side of the field, offering a little bit of advice as well. It's been a long journey for the travelling support. They've had to take a day off work. It's a good 6-hour journey. Irons, good cross, is it a second? It is a second, it's Pat Nevin's second goal of the season, and the wee man crept in from nowhere to give Tranmere a very big advantage. And those fans who've taken the day off work now feel it's worthwhile. Who was the instigator? None other than Kenny Irons, the man that set up the first. Malkin went flying in, and Pat Nevin crept in. John King's side are ready to pull off another shock. One of the great managers in English football, John King, and surprisingly only 18-1 for the Everton job. And that with his former chairman in charge there, who knows all about his abilities. Maybe at 57 is a little too old. Tranmere, who we were saying before, have only scored 4 goals on their travels, have scored 2 in one night on top-class opposition's ground. And they're containing Norwich City all right, letting them have pot shots from distance. Neil Adams can shoot from there all night. He's never going to beat Eric Nixon. 30 yards out and from a very acute angle. John Dean deciding to throw on one of his European competition heroes in Jeremy Goss, and taking off Ian Crook, the captain, who's had a bit of a miserable night really. Jeremy Goss, who's having a bit of a crisis confidence. He feels he's playing bad, though the manager doesn't agree. He's really talked himself out of the side recently. Such Newman, Adams as Norwich drive forward. Goss's first touch, little flick on. Newman starts to steady himself. A header and a goal for Spencer Pryor. Well, Norwich City threw everything into attack, including their centre half, and he's pulled a goal back for them. Now we have a cut tie on our hands. It was again wing play. Again, it was the big men causing problems in the box. Pryor with a bit of head tennis, and then he had a head volley for Eric Nixon from about 6 yards out. Stood a little chance with, but it's still a shock on our hands. It's still Tranmere 2, Norwich 1. Tranmere all of a sudden looking a little bit nervous. Norwich have got into their stride, but Eady shows his inexperience. Anger in the centre. 2 players have made good runs, and the teenager chose to be a little bit greedy. He had, as you can see, going to the far post, Robbins and Newman waiting for the cross to be delivered, but he saw a non-existent gap at the near post. Now Eady. There's always a buzz when this youngster gets the ball. Oh, it takes 2 deflections, and it's more than a buzz. The place has come alive. He'll take the credit for the goal, and poor old John McGreal will probably take the blame for the deflection. Well, this little man, Darren Eady, is the player they've chosen to replace Rule Fox at Carrow Road. It took 1, it took 2 very cruel deflections, especially if you're a Tranmere fan. And with 61 minutes gone, it's all level. Poor old John McGreal has had an excellent game, but he is prone to the odd own goal. He scored 1 at both ends of the field. I remember against Leicester City last year. Still no change of expression from the Norwich manager. 2-2 the score. At the moment, Norwich with the advantage in a massive volume around Carrow Road. As Robbins goes up, Tranmere are getting run a little ragged at the back. They seemed to be cruising when they were 2-0 up, but now they're in real trouble. Bounces kindly for Brannan. Aldridge is away. Leave it, leave it. Shouts Brian Gunn. Oh, the ball left for Robbins, but darn, it comes out of defence. Robbins now gets it. Milligan. Wild challenge from Brannan. It's getting a little bit out of hand down there. Two players snarling at each other, and Brannan gets the yellow card. I think more for the challenge than something he said. It was a bit of a tangle he got himself in with Mike Milligan. So again, the big men go forward, and Tranmere will have to keep an eye on Spencer Pryor, who scored that goal which brought Norwich back into the game. But this time Tranmere get their act together at the back. Eadie, he swapped wings, which is bad news for Steve Mungle. He bounces off Mungle. He finds Milligan. He finds Bowen. Have a shot, cry the crowd. Too far out. Nice play. Chance for a third. It is a third. Nixon looks absolutely shell-shocked, and John Polston blows kisses to the crowd. A game which looks beyond Norwich now looks as though it could be theirs. This is cup football for you. John Polston comes up from the back, and Eric Nixon's a little chance with that one. The grass cutter trickling inside the far post, but their willingness to have a shot has brought them back into the game and given them the lead. 3-2 to Norwich. Nevin. Morrissey struggling with injury. He has to play through the pain barrier to bring Tranmere back into the game. He's got around two defenders. Requires a good cross. It's not a bad cross. Here's a chance. And the first time that John Aldridge has had a sniff of goal, he slips at just the wrong moment. And John Morrissey taking on two defenders. That was a beautiful cross. And Aldridge, well, he must have thought he'd got the one chance and the one goal, but the soggy pitch let him down. Nevin's cross should have been Brian Dunn's ball. He hollered for it, but it's played as far as irons. Players slipping and sliding all over the place. Malkin coming in from the far post, getting over the top of Pryor. But Pryor had put a large enough obstacle in his way. Newman beats Garnett in the air, nods it down to Robbins, who finds Adams. The Norwich fans get onto their feet as Adams is sent sprawling, and Steve Mungle, I think, knows that that is an automatic yellow card. No doubt about it. He got in the way. Maybe couldn't get out of the way, but made little effort to atone for it. And Mungle gets a yellow card, and Norwich have a free kick in a very dangerous position. Surprising position that Eric Nixon's taken right behind his wall. Well, it was perfect positioning and again. And that could have been a Norwich City fourth. Tranmere living dangerously. Very dangerously. Well, I wondered about Eric Nixon's positioning there. He was standing right behind the wall, but as it happened, he got a good view of little Darren Eadie's shot. Tranmere need to find this third goal. They can score goals. 5 times this season they've hit 3 or more away. 3 or more goals. Never away from home though, as another yellow card is to be brandished. Neil Adams checking back with Pat Nevin, catching his ankle rather painfully. Free kick played in, Aldridge going up there, but it doesn't drop for him. It's not been his night. I have a feeling Eric Nixon could have let that go, but he wasn't taking any risks. The goalkeeper put in trouble by his own full-back. Robins cross, and that's the fourth. And Tranmere's dream becomes a nightmare. Rob Newman finishes it off. And sloppy defending, it has to be said. Tranmere had left the ball thinking that Robins was going to let it go out. He had no such intention. A simple cross and a simple goal in the end. Goes Aldridge. We've seen very little of him tonight. He's had one half chance when he lost his feet in the slippery surface. And the referee brings Tranmere's agony to an end. It was an evening which started most pleasurably, and the fans have really changed their tune here. Tranmere were 2 goals up, and then Spencer Pryor, the big number 5, came forward from the back. And then the cruelest blow of all, Darren Eadie having a shot from 25 yards out, cruelly deflected twice, and eventually coming off the back of that man there, the Tranmere number 4, John McGreal. Inspired substitution, and the game was changed. The tide turned in favour of Norwich City. Tranmere have great aspirations of getting into the Premiership. If they want to play with the big boys, they've learnt an important lesson tonight. They've lost to a top club, Norwich City, by 4 goals to 2.